The one main reason that relationships fail is that most people show up to relationships to get something instead of to give something. Where in your relationship do you accidentally, even just in the slightest bit, expect the other person to make you feel a certain way or to make you not feel a certain way? At first, it's just about noticing. It's just about becoming aware of, okay, let me take today in my relationship and let me notice where in my relationship I'm expecting him or her to make me feel a certain way or to not make me feel a certain way. So for example, if you feel like your partner doesn't listen to you, doesn't value your opinion, although there may be validity to this thing, you have to start noticing how often you do this. The longer you say this story in your head about that person, well, they make me feel stupid, they make me feel judged, they don't care enough, then you're going to start searching for evidence to confirm that story. And then that's going to make your relationship toxic over time, even in the tiniest of ways. This is why awareness in our relationships is so incredibly important, because it won't happen necessarily just one single day. It's happening in micro moments over years. And then all of a sudden, 10 years from now, you go, yeah, we just fell out of love, when really you started to tell a story 10 years ago that ate away at your relationship. Maybe they did too. This isn't about them. This is about you. I think the most powerful thing you can do, which I'm about to get to my aha moment that I had, is to take radical responsibility for absolutely everything in your life, but in your relationship specifically. So another example, if you think that you want to have more physical touch, more intimacy, more connection, maybe you're like, well, he never initiates anything or she never initiates anything, and I wish that they would. Then you now are taking radical responsibility for that thing, even if it's just an experiment, even if it's just for a week or a month. A month is probably better because our lives are crazy, especially right now. So you need to give it a few different experimental trials. But say that let's take a month and let's say intimacy is your main focus, your main issue, your main topic. I wish they would blank. You're gonna start doing that instead of expecting them to do that thing. So this idea of you'll complete me is just, you're gonna do this for me. I want you to do this. I want you to make me feel loved. I want you to make me feel like I'm enough. I want you to appreciate me. Okay, for one single month, or again, if you wanna do it for a week, let's take a different example. Instead of intimacy, right? Instead of saying, oh, I want them to make a first move, now you're gonna make the first move, and ignore putting any pressure on them. Let's say it's appreciation. Let's just say that you want them to make you feel appreciated or seen or heard. That feeling of like, well, you never pay attention to me or you don't appreciate what I do around the house. Let's take one single week to have radical responsibility in your relationship in that area. Just that area, just pick one. And now you're going to appreciate yourself. You're going to show up for yourself. You're going to listen to yourself. And if you want to go above and beyond, then you're going to do it for them too. You're going to appreciate them. You're going to show up for them. You're going to start giving instead of expecting to receive. You're going to show up to the relationship to give instead of to get. So now to tell you about the aha moment that I had about 3.5 years ago. Dalton and I we left everything that we knew here in Illinois, packed up our car, and we took everything that we could fit into the Explorer and we drove west. We had no real plan. We had friends we were going to stay with in Colorado and Arizona, and we left for about a total of a year. And when we were living in Arizona, obviously when you're doing things that are weird or different or out of your comfort zone, even a vacation, some insecurities come up, some fears come up, a lot of resistance comes up, and for me, that was happening. So I started to feel really insecure. I started to feel purposeless because I didn't have a job. I started to feel all these emotions that were already there. They were just being shown to me because we were going on this quest, this journey that was really like scary and different. So while we were living in Arizona, I specifically remember starting to feel like he was making me feel all those feelings. And I notice now that I was looking for someone or something to blame, because it couldn't have been me and my own brain and my own mind, right? So I was like, well, it must be my relationship. It must be him. He's making me feel insecure. He's making me feel stupid. He's making me feel judged. When really, all those things were things I had felt my entire life, and they were just coming up, and he happened to be by my side while it was happening. So I had to blame it on someone, and he was right there. It was really convenient. So one specific day, we were in the grocery store, and we were at the checkout, and I think it was maybe salt that I forgot. And Dalton looked at me and was like, how could you forget that? And instantly, I spiraled into, oh my gosh, he is a terrible boyfriend. He's so mean to me. He makes me feel so stupid. He makes me feel so judged. He makes me feel not good enough. He, right? Then my anger and resentment started building toward him, and then I'm going really far into like, well, we've got to break up. I got to leave him because he makes me feel this way, and if I just leave it, then I'll be confident, and then I'll be happy again if I just leave, right? If I just leave, like, he's the problem. What I didn't realize was that there was more to the story, and that I wasn't looking at myself. So the aha moment came later that day when I came across someone named Byron Katie. And this is an older woman who is wonderfully wise, and Oprah's had her on multiple times. And she has what's called the work. So Byron Katie's work, the work, is this process that you go through and ask yourself questions. And I was watching her do it with someone who was in a marriage, and they were about to get a divorce because they kept saying that their partner was making them feel all these things that were not pleasant, right? And again, maybe valid, maybe true for some relationships, but this is where you have to start, is with this radical responsibility and this aha moment that I had. So here's how it goes. You say something that your partner makes you feel. So in this case, when we got home from the grocery store, I had already felt stupid for forgetting the salt. So when he said, how could you forget that? He was just making me realize the feeling I was already having about myself. I'm like constantly feeling stupid. I'm constantly feeling like I'm doing something wrong. So when he said something, it just amplified it. So I decided to blame it on him. Well, in Byron Katie's The Work, she says, you need to flip the roles. You need to put yourself in the place of that other person's name. So for example, I would say to myself initially, Dalton makes me feel stupid. Now I have to swap it out and say, I make me feel stupid. And then do that for everything. Dalton makes me feel judged. No, I make me feel judged. Is that true? Yeah. Dalton makes me feel not good enough. No, I make me feel not good enough. Is that true? Yeah. Dalton makes me feel, fill in the blank. We're looking at, where do you play a role? Where can you take responsibility for how you're feeling in your relationship? This was my aha moment. I realized that I was blaming my partner for all of my insecurities, when really all of my insecurities were there all along, and he just happened to be a mirror to show them to me. So from that point forward, I just started to filter everything. I started to say, okay, if I think that he's making me feel this certain way, I'm going to ask myself, is that really me? Is that really my own insecurity? Is that really me searching for someone to blame outside of myself? It's not that your relationship is going to completely radically change overnight, but it might, and it might just change and happen over time, over micro moments. Love you all, and we'll talk again soon.